Hello everybody and welcome to the Shore House tour. My name is Dipesh. It's going to be a very quick tour of the Shore House exhibit that we have here at Liberty Science Center. To start off things, the Shore House, which is spelled S-U-R-E, actually stands for Sustainability and Resilience. Now the Shore House was developed and designed and built by students from the Stevens Institute of Technology down here in Hoboken, and it was part of an international competition called the Solar Decathlon, which is sponsored by the US Department of Energy. And the competition was to create or build and design a fully functional, fully sustainable 2-bedroom house. And this particular house was built by Stevens in 2015, and not only did it win the competition, but it blew away the competition by setting a record of winning 7 out of the 10 categories. And so today we're going to be walking through the house and telling you a little bit about all the cool things that make this house sustainable and resilient. So one of the really cool features about this house is these giant windows, or actually they're giant glass doors. And the reason for these giant glass doors are twofold. One, they provide a really good view of the outside, because this is technically a shore house. It's supposed to be close to or near a beach. So you want to have a really good view of outside. But the best part about it is that they actually play a very important role in keeping the sustainability factor of the house. In other words, they try to keep the energy that we have inside the house to be remaining inside the house. So for example, whether that's heat or cold. Now the way these are designed is they were designed by a company in Germany called Schuko. And if you look at any sustainability practice inside your normal home with windows, you will always want to have a double pane window. And the reason why is because in between those two panes, you have air that is trapped. And air is a good insulator, and that is what helps in keeping the energy inside the house intact, so whether it's heat or cold. Now the special thing about these windows is that not only are they double pane, they're triple pane. And in between them is not air, but argon gas. Argon gas is much heavier than air, and it's a much better insulator. Now, because they're triple pane windows and there's argon gas in between, these glass doors are actually very, very heavy. They are up to about 900 pounds. Now, I'm not a very strong guy, so I'm going to try and open one of these and I'll show you how it works. So, as soon as I unlock this door, it releases from a lock and gets onto a sliding track, and makes it easier for me to just slide open. Now, the importance of having these doors is they are trying to, as much as possible, keep the energy inside the house. So they're also equipped with rubber gaskets on every side of the glass door. Now the way that helps is, as we have opened the door, we have created a thermal bridge, which means that the energy inside the house is trying to equalize with the energy outside the house. So whether that's heat escaping or cold coming in, the two energies are trying to balance each other, and that's what creates a thermal bridge. Now the rubber gaskets, which are equipped on these doors and on every exterior door of the house, create an airtight seal as soon as you close it and lock it. So as I lock it, I'll close it. And if you notice at the bottom of the door again, as I try to lock it, it sits tight and creates that rubber seal, which means that no energy is escaping from the house. So one of the really cool things that the Stevens Institute of Technology students built for us was this cross-section of the house, which tells us a little bit about what's inside the walls and how this house is protected. Now, we've been talking a little bit about the sustainability factors of the house, but we haven't really talked about the resilience. In the Solar Decathlon, the competition was based purely on sustainability, but as we know, Stevens Institute of Technology is located in Hoboken, which is badly affected by floods, especially during Hurricane Sandy. So the students decided to add a bonus feature to this house, which is making it resilient, and that is why the RE in shore stands for resilience. One of the biggest factors that makes this house a little bit water resistant is this plastic sheathing that you see right here. So if this is the exterior of the house, not even about 2 inches in is this plastic sheathing, which rises up to 4 feet into the walls and is located all over the bottom of the house. So think of the house sitting in a giant bathtub, and the walls of the bathtub go up to about 4 feet. And the reason for this is to keep the water out during flooding. So if there is flooding up to about 4 feet, then this house is well protected and is almost waterproof because of this plastic sheeting. And another factor during bad weather is protection of the windows and doors. When there's a hurricane about to hit, it's really one of the biggest preparations are to protect your windows and doors. This house comes equipped with these composite storm plugs, which is made of construction foam core and carbon fiber, and they're very, very strong, and they protect every house, every door and every window of the house that is open to the exterior. And it takes about an adult about 2 hours to prep the house for a storm. And they screw in using these very easy to screw in Allen screws, and it makes it much easier for it to protect the house. Now, putting on the storm plugs doesn't mean that the house is safe to be in. During a storm, this is an external thing. As soon as you are told to evacuate your house, you plug up the house and you leave. And then when it's safe to come back into the house, then you can undo these storm plugs and see how the storm affected your house. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn around and look at it from inside the house. So looking at it from inside the house, there's also another layer that helps keep the insulation of the house, which is right here, intact and water free. And that is this membrane. If you can see, this membrane is right up against the insulation of the house, and it is a little bit more effective than the plastic sheathing because it is all over the house. It is in the walls, it is in the floor, it is in the ceiling. So think of the house being entirely food wrapped by this membrane, which protects the insulation from getting wet. Now, speaking of the insulation, we're going back now to a sustainability factor. In normal housing, 2x4s are pretty much the standard struts that you would use. Now, in this house, they use 2x6s, which allow us to have more insulation inside the walls. And the insulation helps by keeping the energy of the house within the house. This insulation is also a little bit special because it is not going to give you splinters or anything like that. It is not fiberglass. It is made of stone wool, which as you touch, doesn't give you any splinters, is a little bit more easy to manage, and is also hydrophobic, which means that if water does get into it, it will drain out as much water as possible all the way to the bottom and start acting again like insulation is supposed to act. And that's what makes this house super sustainable and very resilient. So as we mentioned earlier, every exterior door and window of this house has rubber gaskets that create that perfect airtight seal. Now, what is the problem when you have every exterior door and window having an airtight seal? Air coming in, or oxygen for us to breathe. And that could be a problem because I wouldn't be here speaking, I would actually be totally passed out by the time this video would have been done. So the best part about this house is the heart and soul of this house, which is the ventilation system. Now, if you look at any ventilation system inside any regular house, this is how it works. If let's say it's cold outside and you want to heat your house to 75 degrees, you are going to have a vent that brings air in, and then it gets heated up by a heater, circulates around the house, and then is expelled out. And then more air comes in, gets heated up to 75 degrees, circulates around the house, and is expelled out. Now, there's a lot of energy wastage because of that system. Now, this house has a really cool, awesome system that tries to recover as much energy as possible, and it's called the ERV system, or the Energy Recovery Ventilation System. And this is how it works. When it is cold outside and you want to heat up the shore house to 75 degrees, for example, air will come in just like normal, and it'll get heated up by the heater to 75 degrees just like normal. It'll circulate around the house just like normal, but before it's expelled out, it goes through the ERV system, or the ERV unit. And what that is it's a bunch of different copper pipes that are jumbled up together. Think of it like a bunch of straws that you're holding together. And what it does is, as that air is getting expelled out, it absorbs as much energy or heat as it possibly can, and it supplies it to the incoming air. And so the air now coming in is a little bit warmer than the air that came in previously, and so the heater has to work a little bit less. And over the course of the day, the heater works less and less because the air that's coming in is getting warmer and warmer, to the point where the heater doesn't have to work at all. And it is an automated system, so it just keeps running. And at the moment, currently, the heater is off and we're at a decent temperature right now. So that shows that we can recover as much energy as possible and supply it to the incoming air to make sure that we are keeping the house sustainable, but really energy efficient as well, to the point where we are saving up to about 91% in utility efficiency. And that is really big when it comes to saving on our bills at the end of the month. Now, if we're looking at the way this house is powered, we talked about this house being fully sustainable, which means that there are 31 solar panels on the roof of this house, and there are 5 on the giant storm plugs that cover the big glass doors, kind of like this picture right here. And that makes the house fully sustainable, which means that in the case of a power outage, this house will be able to power up the cooktop so you can have a hot meal. It'll have some lights on, and it'll also power up the big water heater, which we have in the storeroom, in the mechanical room back there, which will allow you to have a hot shower in the case of a power outage as well. So this house is not only efficient, but it's also fully sustainable. Alright, so I really hope you enjoyed our quick tour of the Shore House. If you have any questions or comments, please drop us a line. But also check us out on our website, www.lsc.org, and our really cool program, LSC in the House. My name is Dipesh, and I hope you enjoyed our tour. Until we meet, have a great and awesome day. And thank you all, and hope to see you soon.